Robert Anderson, a Scotsman, built the first electric car we know of, an electric carriage. Granted, it was pretty primitive, running on disposable battery cells, but the thing actually moved without horses. It marked the beginning of something revolutionary. This was back in 1832. Sadly, no pictures of it exist today. This is Sibrin Stratinga. On March 25, 1834, the provincial Groninger Courant reported, "In the early morning hours of March 22nd, Mr. Strating and Mr. Becker conducted their first test run of their steam vehicle, successfully maneuvering through the city's steep, winding streets. The inventors were so satisfied with the trial that they believe their vehicle, with just a few minor modifications, will easily handle not only the newer stone and gravel roads, but even the bumpy cobblestone streets." Sibrin Strating didn't just experiment with steam engines. He also created a self-propelled electric cart. In 1837, another Scottish inventor, Robert Davidson from Aberdeen, constructed an electric carriage and an early electric train prototype. In 1841, his machine traveled nearly 1.5 miles at a speed of 4 miles per hour while pulling 6 tons. However, steam boiler workers saw this not as progress, but as a threat to the established order, and they destroyed this diabolical machine. Davidson's invention failed commercially, since disposable batteries were considerably more expensive than steam engine fuel. The turning point came in 1859. French physicist Gaston Planté created the lead-acid battery, one that could actually be recharged. The age of electric cars had begun. Enter Thomas Parker onto the world stage of technological evolution. Here he is in his gray suit, seated in his electric car. He was a true genius inventor. They called him the European Edison. Parker revolutionized multiple spheres of life in England. He was years ahead of his time and shook the entire world. Simply put, he was the 19th century prototype of Elon Musk. He had numerous inventions and innovations to his credit, including several electric car models, one of which he drove quite frequently, despite the Light Locomotive Act. According to this law, a vehicle had to carry 3 people, 2 to operate the automobile, and 1 to walk ahead carrying a red flag. By law, the automobile could travel at 4 miles per hour on country roads and 2 miles per hour on city streets. He was known as Wolverhampton's first motorist, the city where his company Elwell Parker was based. He made it a rule to drive to work in his automobiles, one of which served him for 18 months without breaking down. Thomas Parker's electric car was the first electric vehicle capable of mass production and genuinely poised to revolutionize transportation. Remarkably, in 1882, Parker and Gaston Planté filed patent applications describing the same improvement to the lead-acid battery. Both patents were granted. The iconic London cabs were swiftly trading their horses for electric motors. Parker succeeded where no one before him had, accomplishing what others would strive for decades to achieve. Some of his vehicles already featured hydraulic brakes on all 4 wheels and 4-wheel steering, innovations that many had never heard of even after cars dominated the roads. Parker never stopped inventing and changing life in England and Europe until the end of his days, with each generation of his descendants continuing the family legacy of invention. Meanwhile, how are things developing in America? William Morrison from Iowa built America's first practical electric car in 1890. Surprisingly, Morrison was another Scottish immigrant who had come to America at age 35. His car made waves at the 1893 World's Columbian Exposition in Chicago, creating quite a... Early 1896 brought a milestone to America, the country's first electric car manufacturer, Morris and Salome Electric Carriage and Wagon Company, or simply ECWC. January 1897 saw Samuel's Electric Carriage and Wagon Company roll out a fleet of electric 2-seat cabs in New York City. The sight of 12 electric cabs cruising Manhattan streets caused an absolute sensation. This became America's first taxi service and one of the very first anywhere in the world. Interestingly, it would be another 10 years before gas-powered taxis started picking up New Yorkers. It's hard to imagine today, but in 1900, nearly 1/3 of all automobiles in the United States were electric. By that time, companies like Baker Electric and Detroit Electric were manufacturing hundreds of electric vehicles annually. Electric cars were considered elite transportation, while gasoline automobiles required laborious hand cranking to start, produced heavy exhaust fumes, and generated tremendous noise. It was only natural that women gravitated toward electric vehicles. And sometimes it happened just like this. The first electric cars produced by the Baker Motor Vehicle Company of Cleveland, Ohio, had 3/4 horsepower motors and a range of up to 50 miles. In 1907, Detroit began production of the Detroit electric automobile. It offered a range of up to 80 miles with a top speed of 20 miles per hour on a single charge. These vehicles were extremely popular among the wealthy and with women. John D. Rockefeller purchased one for himself, as did Clara Ford, Henry Ford's wife. Thomas Edison was among the company's shareholders. Despite the impressive advances in electric vehicle development, the gasoline engine ultimately triumphed. Henry Ford became the primary architect of this shift when he released the Ford Model T in 1908. By comparison, gasoline automobiles could then be purchased for just $650, while an electric vehicle cost $1,750. In 1912, Charles Kettering invented the electric starter. The problem of laborious hand cranking was solved, and with it, the fate of electric automobiles was sealed. Ford Model T. The car earned several colorful nicknames among the public: Tin Lizzie, Flivver, Poor Man's Car, and Bouncing Betty. This was the vehicle that buried the electric car concept for over a century.